Welcome to Crypto Pulse Weekly. Hope you've had a nice week. Very much for joining. For those joining on Instagram and for everyone joining on Zoom, welcome to Crypto Pulse Weekly. I'll be very fast this week because for a very strange reason, some key metrics on the market have stood the same. And what this is saying to me is that the market has stalled in its free fall. So I think it's worth noting that. But really and truly, for the key metrics to stay the same, it means that we're not going down. We're not likely to go down any further. And for those people who have asked me during the week as well, I think we've seen the bottom, as I said during the week. We might have a retest of the 31,000 plus region, but I think we've seen the bottom. So let's get cracking on today's episode of Crypto Pulse Weekly. So as usual, we'll go through our market update items. We'll talk about the vital signs and then pick the knowledge sharing session today, which is about Binance P2P. So in terms of market updates, a number of things seems to be swirling around sovereign nations and central bank digital currencies. So in the space of like 7 days now, had Russia, Nigeria, United Arab Emirates come out to say that they're considering rolling out central bank digital currency. Of course, it's interesting to note that it was just earlier this year that Nigeria came out to say they were banning cryptocurrencies. Well, like with most things that have to do with technology, you're either an early adopter or you're a laggard, and unfortunately, they've chosen to be the latter. Same thing seems to be happening with many other countries. So there are plans this week for United Arab Emirates to start rolling out their CBDC. There are plans from the Russian central government on CBDC. There's still some sort of countdown going on with crypto exchanges and crypto activities. And in recent days, we've had that there's been warning from the Apex Bank to the stockbrokers not to get involved in crypto activities. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's going to happen. And like I said, and I've said repeatedly, August is the only month standing in between Bitcoin and sovereignty. Let me use that word. Because once El Salvador starts using Bitcoin as a legal tender, there's a point of no return, essentially, because it means that the network is never going to suffer deficit in terms of usage, and the number of new wallets is just going to increase. So in terms of volatility, rally that we've had off the bounce when we dipped again, and we're still bullish, but I think we have one more retest to do. And because next week is the month end, I suspect that there will be some month options expiry that will cause some volatility in the markets the coming week. But as I said, I don't think we're going down further than we have already. And because if you remember I shared a particular chart of Bitcoin monthly price action. And in that chart, basically what I was showing was that we're still trading, or we were still trading above the 12 months moving average, and that we've tried it for 5 months, and we've not closed below that 12-month moving average for 5 months. And I felt, if we've not been able to do that in 5 months, we're not likely to succeed this month, more so that being at this bull retracement for a while. And I think that's exactly what is playing out now, because you look at the market, you see that we're still just bouncing around that 12-month average. So let's go on and talk about what we have, other things we have in the news. As you're probably aware, Tesla has come, well, not Tesla, the owner of Tesla, Elon Musk, has come out to say that Tesla will soon return to accepting Bitcoins. That was on the back of the discussion between Jack Dorsey of Twitter, Katie Woods of that investment company in the US, and Elon Musk on Bitcoin. And I did watch the highlights of the discussion. And in short, what he was saying was that, well, they had environmental concerns, and that was why they stopped the payment activity, but they were going to accept Bitcoin as soon as they clarify that, more environmentally compliant, and that as of now, it appears more environmentally compliant. Then he went on to say something else very funny, that, apart from the companies that the only significant things of what he had were Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. And I mean, I found that funny. While people were busy selling their Bitcoin, the person that caused the fraud has held on to his Bitcoin and has not sold any for his company as well. So on the back of that, I think many people's mind were Musk followers, a lot of them, will have something to cheer on. In that same arena, we discovered in the last 6 days that there's been an accumulation of about 1.6 Ethereum chain. And the reason this is because the Ethereum hard fork that was meant for July was postponed to August. And many people are trying to position for that because it's expected that that's a hard fork or upgrade. It's going to take a lot of Ethereum out of circulation. So expect that price of Ethereum will take, I don't think it will take a nosedive. I think it will take it will pick up a very good rally in the month of August because of the hard fork. And in fact, not just because of the hard fork, the anticipation of the hard fork is likely to generate more excitement on the market than the hard fork itself. So expect Ethereum to pick up. Of course, Ethereum picking up in August means that everything that depends on Ethereum is going to pick up. There was a slide I was going to share about the likely pattern by which this current recovery is going to take. It's probably going to take NFT, which is happening already. So we're going to have NFTs and NFT tokens accelerating. If you remember AXS, I talked about Axie token, Axie Infinity, I talked about a few weeks ago. I think when I was talking about it, was $7 or $8 or $9. As of today, it has gone, yesterday, it has gone up to $30. So you have tokens like that are NFT tokens that are likely to be the ones to first recover. So all NFT tokens that I've ever given you, we should take a look at them because you're likely to make the NFT, then followed by DeFi followed by large cap tokens, and everything else. And because NFT DeFi are already sitting on Ethereum, and Ethereum is having an up, so expect that we will definitely see some positive price action on the price of Ethereum in the month of August. In terms of on-chain metrics, I just decided to bring this back so that we realize that nothing has changed on-chain between last week and now. So the exchange outflows at the rate of 30,000 Bitcoins on the average per week has been going out. It's still going out. Stablecoin pool is growing, all-time high in terms of new users. So it means more people are buying Bitcoin. New users are buying Bitcoins than before, and nobody is transferring their Bitcoins around. So what we've seen is just a spark. What we've seen this week in terms of the rebound is just a spark. I think the bigger rallies will be in the next 1 or 2 weeks, when especially I think first week in August will be very dramatic. Next week might be either there or there in terms of price action. It might swing both ways, but there's going to be a very, very strong starting from the first week of August. I think it's lining up to be like that. I saw this today and I smiled because Bloomberg analyst is saying that probably have a local bottom and we're likely to see 60K more than we're likely to see 20K. It's funny because when you flip the news back just 3 months ago, you see that some of the same people from the same companies were the ones that were saying, Bitcoin is overbought and they should probably go to 20K. And it's almost like it's a cycle where they flood the market with fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and then they start pumping it again. Now that they seem to, I think they've loaded their bags, generally speaking. I think we can expect a rally for the next September, October, November, December, for the next 5 to 6 months. After that, we'll have a bear market for sure. Or I mean, probably before 6 months. Or but at the minimum, I think 5 months we'll have strong rally, then everything will crash. But bear in mind that whatever it crashes, it's not going to be as low as 30K. Just be sure of that. But it's going to crash. It might be crashing from 500, might be crashing from 400, might be crashing from 300K, but it's going to crash whichever way in the next 6 to 7 months. So that's that in terms of Bloomberg's ideology. I saw this interesting story about an SEC commissioner in the US Securities and Exchange Commission complaining apparently to the media. I think there's some sort of infighting or internal disagreement on the modus operandi or how they should go about Bitcoin ETFs in the United States. So up until now, SEC has refused to approve. Now the guy says that SEC, the guy is a commissioner, in SEC, SEC. He's saying that SEC shouldn't be the one deciding the merits, that SEC should just be a regulator, which is true anyway. But I guess, like most other things, they're political undertones. So people might not just be happy. Maybe they don't have Bitcoins or they're getting in late and they just want to follow the fund for everybody else. But whether they approve or not, many other countries are going ahead. We knew about Canada. Canada went ahead in January, February. It was a total blowout success. Afterwards, Brazil went. Brazil approved Bitcoin ETF. Now they've approved Ethereum ETF. So whatever you are seeing now, in terms of prices, as I said during the week, you might not see them again ever, because you now have new entries that have not been accounted for. And these new entries are going to allow people to get exposure to Bitcoin. So imagine a Brazilian ETF allowing all the rich people in Brazil, in their money in Bitcoin form of ETF. What it means is that the companies that are offering the ETF need to buy the Bitcoin. So, and in buying the Bitcoin on the spot markets, they're going to generate demand and contribute to the already, to the existing scarcity. Another news that I forgot to carry actually was the one of, I think it was JP Morgan, asking their wealth management customers, which are like, I would say the top 5% of their customers, that they can buy Bitcoin, or that now is the time to buy Bitcoin. So as I said earlier on, don't ever listen to what they say or watch what they do. These are the same guys that were bashing Bitcoin, or the same guys that were talking down Bitcoin over and over again. Now they're getting their richest customers to buy Bitcoin. On the one, that's JP Morgan. Now, when you come to UK, you hear different banks saying that they're blocking people from sending money to Binance. I think it's going to backfire, and I think it's going to backfire really hard, because there are actually so many other means to get ramped up on crypto without Binance. And what's going to happen is people are going to jump up on those on-ramps and then still move their money to Binance. Because, for instance, if I want to buy Bitcoin now and I want to buy pounds, of course, I don't need any bank to send money to Binance. I can go on P2P and transfer from my bank, or I can even use things like Swissborg. Transfer to Swissborg is almost within the minute, and then I can move the money from Swissborg to Finance. So it seems very foolhardy for me to, I mean, for them, trying to block people from, making their own investment decisions. But like I said, Binance has caused a massive bleed out for bank deposits in the UK. So there's no love lost for Binance in the UK, obviously. Moving on, Auntie Christina, um, this woman, Christina Lagarde. She's now the ECB chairman. She used to be IMF chairman. She said that they're aware that almost 80 banks all over the world are working their central bank digital currency. What does this mean? Well, it means that if you're scripturally inclined, that we are not far from the end of it. How do I mean? Because once you have CBD, that means government, knows government has your money. Let me use that one. I mean, you can say it's your keys, right? They can allow you to have your keys and have your wallet, but everything will be trackable, meaning whatever you move around is trackable. Depending on how they implement it, I think I've talked about this before. Depending on how they choose to implement this, they can say that the central bank will be, the nodes, main nodes on blockchain, and then have the banks as the users. And then anybody that opens an account either opens an account on a layer two with a bank, which is most likely. So most of them would like to use the bank's nodes on the blockchain as a settlement layer. So the settlement layer will be the blockchain that holds the actual currency by the central bank with the central bank's computers. And then the banks that are involved in that particular country will be part of their nodes or users. What will then happen is all your current electronic records will be migrated. Well, not really migrated. The format just changed. So instead of you now having to um, do the normal transfer you can do the transfer using QR codes and all the stuff that you hitherto not able to do. But my thinking about the architecture, central bank digital currency, most likely the only people who will have access to the actual blockchain will be the banks and the central banks themselves. Otherwise, the layer one for that any particular blockchain that the central bank is using will be too cluttered, and then there will be issues of security as well. So I think that's the model they will adopt, and they'll probably try. I think some will adopt that model. Some more adventurous countries will adopt, a strictly layer one model, meaning everyone is on the blockchain, and all transactions are visible. Of course, that's to the advantage of the government. So I think China will probably do something like that. In which case, once you open an account, the wallet is open on blockchain for you, and whatever you do with your wallet, everything is traceable. So they know who you are buying from, and you know you're buying. So it depersonalize well, it makes everything feasible. Central government. And as I said, once we get to that stage of surveillance, monetary surveillance, the end is near. Anyways, moving on. Interesting story from Amazon. Amazon is looking into getting into crypto. This was made obvious by some of their job postings in the last few weeks, requesting for a digital assets and cryptocurrency lead. And the kind of requirements, of course, a senior role. Expect somebody who's probably been in the space for 5 to 10 years and is very vast with CBDCs and digital assets. So it tells me that they're either looking to create their own token, which is very likely, and find a way, monetize that ecosystem. I think that's probably what they'll be considering. So interesting news out of Amazon. In terms of Osama, there is this new platform that's just launched, Karura, sorry, not Kaura. I keep misspelling it. Kaura is Kara Namoda in Nigeria, but Karura is the actual name. Karura, yes. Karura is actually is a decentralized DeFi platform for Kusama, and it's the first of its kind on the Polkadot ecosystem. It's just launched this week, and these are the offerings that they're saying, synthetic assets, trading, lending, borrowing, prediction, DEXs, taking derivatives, DApp platforms, and stablecoin. If it works, we're going to see a very volatile movement in the price of Kusama, definitely, because it needs to first launch on Kusama before it gets involved as a parachain on Polkadot. So if it works, I would expect the price of Kusama to take a huge pump in the month of August or in the coming weeks. In furtherance to that, there is a coin I would like everybody to put on their watch list, and it's called Akala Network. So Akala Network is currently not in open circulation. It's not currently available for sale. So let me show you what I mean. Some moment. I want to show you CoinMarket. Yeah, so the token itself is not to be launched. It's the open market. But for people who have been on the Polkastarter or the Kusama ecosystem as Launchpad members, they will have bought some of this Akala. I was trying to track it. It was just too difficult. The conditions they were given on Polkastarter wasn't making sense, so I just left it. So it's an important token because Akala token is what that Karura DeFi platform is based upon. So whenever it launches, I expect that it's going to be very rapid price movement. So it's one I think you should keep an eye for. As always, I mean, you don't have to bet the farm on tokens like this, but tokens like this do have very, very, very high potential over a longer period of time. So if you think about, like I always say, if you think about Binance, but when Binance launched at the beginning, Binance launched in cents, or maybe 1 cent or 10 cents, and they were giving people 100 Binance coin as airdrop for free. Now, the people that took Binance airdrop then and never sold it, at the peak of the last all-time high that we have at 65K, I think Binance was like $600. So you didn't sell the 100 that you had then, that was already 60K. So I think this kind of tokens are going to very well for a couple of years. And same thing goes for like Uniswap. Uniswap too, you had Uniswap for free for one at a time. But I knew people that got maybe like 2,000 tokens for free because they had like 5 different wallets that they connected. So it's important to keep an eye for this kind of almost like free money. And it's free money that has very good potential. So put down the watch outs. In terms of what's happening in the markets, last week is exactly like this week, which is very strange. So we're still at 1.1 trillion. We're still at 7.8 in terms of wealth. Everything has remained the same between last week and this week. That's why I said I think we've got into that point of inflection on the market, and the next thing we'll probably be having is a significantly high rally or long rally. In terms of fear and greed index, we've increased a bit, just a bit from last week. Last week we were sitting at 22, but 23 now. Once this coming week passes, I think we'll start seeing what's today's date actually? Yeah, we'll start seeing some very massive movements from Sunday, the 1st of August, because then summer is almost coming to an end, and the dip is over essentially by then. So in terms of where we are, on the short term, we were out of this depression that I was talking about 2 weeks ago. We are beginning to go into disbelief. Um, and what will then happen is people are already saying, just a dead cat bounce, and that the market is going to dip further. But as I said, I don't think the market is going to dip further than what we have now. We're tempted to dip further. The market has not succeeded in dipping further, so it's inevitable that if you can't go, if you can't go up, you go down. So that if you can't go, sorry, if you can't go down, you go up. So we've tried to go down, not been able to go down. The only thing that's next is to go all the way up. So in terms of what's happening on the charts, I'm just trying to pull up my charts. TradingView is giving me some funny vibes. This decided to change their outlook this evening. How am I supposed to know what? Okay, it's really strange. Anyways, okay, let's take my hand. So in terms of what's happening on the markets, we have been doing some trading on my chart, so it doesn't look normal. I circled this place because it was on the monthly that I was showing us the monthly. Yes, I was showing us this red line. I've shown this red line many times. And of course, the colors have changed. I needed to grayscale my colors to do the training I was doing. So what I was saying and what I've been saying for the past how many weeks now? Probably like 6 or 7 weeks. That we'll try to break this 12-month moving average twice before now, and that each time we end up pinging back upwards. So right now we're just barely 32,948 great, and we're at 32,252. So we're just less than 1,000 below this moving average, and we still have one more week in the month. Yeah. So if you pound that to the weekly, you see that tried for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks to break it without succeeding. Broken it once, which was last week. This week, we're trading below it. What I'm saying is that by next week, we'll be trading above the 3,000. I'm definitely sure about that. By the end of next week, we're trading above the 3,000, which effectively means that we've taken the support over this 12 months moving average. What does then, I mean, what does this mean for all who are looking to take positions? What it means that if we start out next week, next week we're probably going to bounce off. Yeah, we're probably going to bounce off this line, this 31,005 or 31,600 region tomorrow or during the weekend before attempting to forward, because this line, this 33,000 line, also represents another resistance. So it's not only the 12-month moving average that's at that point. There is also an additional resistance. I think it. Let me see. No, it's not from that one. Probably from this one. I think it's one of these trend lines. Yeah, I think it's one of these. So that we need to break to successfully move upward. So as far as I'm concerned, my outlook for the market is strong, well, bullish, not strongly bullish. More so because we've also just traded off the edge of the lower standard deviation for the daily chart, which means we've been trading this region for a while now, and we've just suddenly bounced back to the mid-range. If we flip the mid-range in the next 3 days, then we can be sure that we have left the bearish support at the 30K region, or 29, 30K region, and then we're only going to go upward from there. In terms of where we're likely going to be at, let me switch pause. Likely projection, let's say, yeah, uh, yeah, yeah. I think before we see another major correction after this one, probably looking at 35,000 at the minimum. So that's the outlook in terms of what's happening on the chart. In terms of in terms of today's trips, I promised that I was going to show a demo of how to do Binance P2P. Just a moment. Um, I'm gonna need yeah, I'm gonna need to share my screen. I need to be sure. I need to be sure that I'm not compromising anything. So uh, yeah, so it's them. So you know how to get to P2P. Under fiat and sports, we do uh from Binance homepage, go to uh so under by so in P2P and buy help especially for Nigeria we're trying to buy from the Naira accounts. So here I say I want to buy, say I want to buy NTN, and then I enter the amount of so you get this warning message, of course, that if you never release your crypto before the actual payment and don't believe anyone gonna support, then you have that disclaimer that you confirm. So I say I want to buy. No, I don't want to buy NGN actually. I want to buy USDT with NGN. So this is the fiat that I'm paying with, and I want to buy USDT. Now, there are payment methods that merchants accept. So I want to deal with only merchants that do bank transfer. And the reason being that there are some people that do 77. So I don't, I don't do that, and I don't know how safe it is. So for me to filter out which merchant I'm going to deal with, I'll enter the amount I want to buy. So in this case, I want to buy 55,000. Um, then I'll refresh my search. And what am I looking for? Two things I'm looking for. I'm looking for merchants. So all these guys that are advertisers are people that want to sell USDT for Naira. What I'm looking for is people that have this mark in front of their name or their ID. Those are verified merchants or verified users. What does it mean? They have done so much transactions that their credibility is more or less verified by Binance. Secondly, you see the order completion. I'm watching out for people who have order completion. I'm not concerned about price because it's not important what the exchange rate is. If somebody is going to scam you, exchange rates won't become important. So what I'm really looking for are people who are one, have 100% completions, then two, have very large amounts of orders. So if I was considering between Johnny Grace and Vertex, for instance, I'm probably going to this guy because he has 91% and is also verified. Of course, and the list is usually very long. You have very long list and do very large figures. But because I'm not interested in much large figures, and as a matter of fact, I only want to do 55K. So I'll just go back to that guy. So this guy says um Golden Exchange says he's doing it at 509.60 I want to buy 55K, so I'll click on buy USDT and I'll put 55,000 there. So what it then says is this for this 55,000, you're going to receive 7.9 USDT. So I go ahead and say buy USDT. Oh, okay. So what it's saying is the remaining balance is less than the minimum order, meaning this guy has just sold to somebody else before I did this transaction. So I'm going to refresh. The page, try and see. So okay, let's go for Johnny Grace. 76% completion. So I'm not a huge fan. I'll give it a try. I usually look for people in other competition is a 90% range, and that's because they're most likely more attendant to the prompting of the system. Yeah, for instance, this guy, I think I've done some stuff with like, and then I go ahead. So this guy's rate is a lot higher, but it's not higher actually. It's the same thing. So I'll go ahead and say, so here are the details that the advertiser has put in. Okay, I can complete the order in 15 minutes. My payment method is bank transfer. And it says don't pay, third party. If you are paying from what's it called? Well, the account must send your CAC and all that stuff. Then of course you will say you don't put any crypto related text in the message. And then they buy USDT. So this guy is also sold. No, this guy is not.
Yeah, it was 102 there before you started the transaction. $102 that remained available.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 102.61.
Yeah.
Let's just buy $100 and let's see. Since
okay. This guy's limit is higher than that. So this guy, even though he says 20,000, his limit is actually 2,000, 200,000. I need to filter this. I need to filter by yeah. So what also happens is that minimum, some of them set. Yeah, so for instance, this guy is 200K. You can't do that. Let's see. Guy. Yeah. Okay. That is one. Let's go. Why are they all on it today? Usually very straightforward. Okay, this guy doesn't have that's another funny thing about this. Some of them have stipulated the exact amount they want to sell, so you can't match their exact order. They're just going to reject the order form. Okay. Apologies to the guys on Instagram because I need to use my internet banking. It might cut you off for a while. So, but ordinarily, okay. So it's placed the order for. I don't even know if I have that in my Naira account. It's placed the order for 59K, and once I select how I want to pay the guy, so the guy is charging 510 for this transaction. This is the guy's account number. Once I send money to this account and they transferred, I have 15 minutes to do that. Once I say transferred, money will be transferred. And once the guy receives the money, he's going to confirm it, and then transaction is going to go through. So for guys on Instagram, just give me like 2 minutes to do the internet bank. Thank you. So let's do internet banking for Bharat Lassain. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, sorry, I needed to cancel because I had only 55 in my account.
$51,000 naira, $400.
Yes. So what is asked for is more than what's in my account. So I don't want to uh, yeah.
Let Dr. Laliri pay for this thing.
Let me go back. Yeah, and well, the only thing is that it only allows you to cancel an order 3 times a 24-hour period, something like that. So, but yeah, it's usually very strange. Many a times, you usually find a lot of people that want to sell around 55K. Yeah.
Well, I think we got the gist around it now.
Yes. So what then happens from once I click that order and it showed me that screen where the guy's bank account is. Once you do the transaction on your internet banking, you will get a pop-up. You will get a pop-up, or you will need to confirm. Sorry, no, you get it. Once you do the transfer physically on your bank app, you will need to confirm on Binance that you have done the transfer. When you confirm on Binance that you have done the transfer, then it's almost like the workflow moves from you to the advertiser or the merchant. The merchant then will confirm that he has received. Once he receives and confirms it on Binance, the USDT is automatically released to you by Binance. So let me explain the process using that slide that I had on. So usually you fund escrow if you are the person who wants to buy, and then if you are the person who wants to sell, you will also have the money in your. So if I want to buy, I'll have the naira in my bank account. If I'm the seller, I'll have the money in Binance P2P. When I come as buyer and put in the funds to the seller, as I've just explained, using the bank app, normal transaction, banking transaction, what happens is the merchant will verify by checking his own bank app that the transfer has actually been made. If the transfer has been made and he's seen the money, he will confirm that he's seen the money by clicking on a button on his Binance app. Once he clicks on that button on his Binance app, automatically Binance will release the funds from escrow to the buyer's account. That was what I was trying to demonstrate. But I had 55 accounts, 5 of them have come true. And the guy could take the money and decline, so it won't make sense. But I think you get the gist generally. So that's how P2P work in the Nigerian context. In the British context or in the diaspora context, let's say I want to sell my Bitcoin, just as an example, and I'm looking for pound sterling buyers. Because there are always merchants in each geography. Oh, sorry, 55,000 pounds. No. Okay, so these are merchants within it, and these are their various bank payment methods. So what I'm saying is, I wanted to sell, let's say, I wanted to sell Bitcoin, and I wanted to sell one Bitcoin. So one Bitcoin is currently around 21,000 thereabouts. What then says that, okay, I want to sell Bitcoin, like this guy, this guy is in Nigeria, obviously, is available to sell Bitcoin at he has 0.9 Bitcoin available to sell. If I take sell and I want to sell all, so it's available to buy. He doesn't even have anything left. Probably sold what he has. So ordinarily, it was available to buy 0.9 Bitcoins. This person is available to buy 0.8. It's the same process. If I say sell Bitcoin and I say, oh, because I don't have any Bitcoin anymore, nothing is going to show here. But ordinarily, if I have something to sell, I'll just put in the amount of Bitcoin I want to sell here. And because the guy has capacity to take 0.8, if I want 0.9, I'll just say, okay, 0.9, blah, blah, blah. And before I sell, okay, that's another thing. If I was on which side, I mean, this is my Nigeria account, I will have had to update my payment method, my British accounts, like, any of the normal accounts with bank code and sort bank account and sort key. And then once I go ahead and do sell Bitcoin, it's the same process. What will then happen is, once I say sell at the agreed price, this merchant will pick my payment method and send money to my payment method. Once it sends the money to my payment method and I confirm the money has hit my bank account, I will come back to Binance app and click confirm. Once I click confirm, Bitcoin automatically moves from my Binance P2P to his Binance P2P. So that's how you cash in or cash out using P2P and Binance. I don't know if there are any questions. Happy to take questions now. Thank you. If there are any questions for guys on that video, I'll take them. I'll read them out and I'll take the questions. Okay, since we have no questions, I would say have a nice weekend, everyone. Don't do what I won't do. What I won't do for sure is I won't sell my people.
Thank you very much.
I won't sell mine too.
All right.
But
I
we need
wanted to sell mine.
Don't sell your Dr. Lalere, don't sell. I don't want to be hearing stories that touch in November.
Village people won't make me sell them.
I now know Mr. Lalere's house, so that's very good.
Hey, where's my house?
I won't tell you. You know your house, so don't worry.
You must rescue Igboho.
Ẹ máa rí mi ní weekend yìí, kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ṣe.